Today on an all-new Dr. Phil, a bitter divorce.
We had to provide her wardrobe because you wouldn't let her get her clothes.
He won't let me back in the house.
Their child trapped in the middle.
He had the audacity to take his own son for a walk. And you say, I'm calling the cops.
And the police.
I have been physically abused.
On speed dial.
What'd you throw at him?
A pair of stretchy pants.
You called the police because she threw stretchy pants at you. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
I hate to see people suffering, and you've hurt long enough.
Stand by, Dr. Phil.
Both of you. Take
I'm going to get you the help that you need.
5, 4.
This is going to be a changing day in your life. Today, it's the story of a beautiful newlywed couple, sadly in the midst of a nasty divorce, filled with accusations of kidnapping, domestic violence, parental alienation, and child abuse. Now, at the heart of all the mudslinging lies a precious 10-month-old baby, trapped in the middle of a custody tug-of-war. Now, Hawk says his wife, Francesca, is violent, unstable, and unpredictable, which is why he says that he has been forced to take extreme measures to fight for custody. Take a look.
I'm divorcing Francesca because Francesca has kept my son from me. I never got that special father-son bonding time because she's always used breastfeeding as a tool to keep me from getting time with him. She's a bully. I have been physically abused. She goes into just extreme rages that are scary. This is a police report just regarding Francesca's violence towards me. Wife pushed him and shut hand and door. Francesca's absolutely very jealous and insecure. If anyone was sitting there holding him, she'd be staring at him. You could feel the energy just like, you know, very intimidating. If I took him for a little walk around the ranch, I knew she was up there looking out the window at me. The most alone time I got with Waden was 1 hour. And that was taking him in his jogger around the neighborhood just for a walk. And even that was interrupted the whole time by calls and texts and threats. If you're not back in 10 minutes, I'm calling the cops. So there'll be consequences to your actions. If Waden is not back in 5 minutes, the cops will be out looking for our son who's missing.
Hi, buddy. Hi. Hi, buddy.
I said, I can't do this anymore. I am leaving you. She said, write an agreement if you want. I'll sign it. Because of the verbal and physical domestic violence that you have exhibited, you agree that you will not physically grab or push me, slam the door on me, especially while Waden is in your arms. It's extremely frustrating. It's my right as a father. I mean, I created this little guy. I have called the police so many times. Some reasons are very serious, some not as serious, but I had to do it to defuse the situation, make sure I'm safe. I think, honestly, that Francesca needs Waden more than Waden needs her.
Well, from telling her how to dress to stripping her of her childhood friends, Francesca says Hawk's fight for full custody of their son, Waden, is just another attempt to try and control her.
My husband, Hawk, is very controlling. Hawk would tell me how to act around his friends and family. I didn't dress the way that he would have liked me to. So he went out and bought me old school high-waisted Wranglers and button-down shirts and just made me into the little rancher girl. I just wanted to be the perfect wife and mom, so I just did what he said. Hawk was very critical about the house and how it was kept up. It came to the point where he said that he was going to do the shopping from now on because I was incapable of doing it.
What do we do then? He just doesn't have anything? But solid foods?
Be going overnight then.
This is exactly my point.
Hawk decided to take me off his bank account and I didn't have any access to any money. He would go into my wallet and if I had like $3 in cash, he wouldn't leave me money for that day. I was married and I had to file for assistance. I felt I was being sort of like stripped of my womanhood. It was extremely hurtful.
Francesca says Hawk is willing to do whatever it takes to steal their son away from her, including to lie. She insists all of his accusations are fabricated because what she says he's doing is just building a case. He's trying to create a record so when he makes the move, he'll have all of this to point to. Take a look.
Hawk's accused me of abusing her son. Hawk's motive is to get 100% custody of him. Hawk calls the cops to make it look like I'm abusing him. The calls are absolutely ridiculous. Hawk got in bed one night and I put my cold feet on him and he literally flipped out and was yelling at me, "Don't f***ing touch me," and ran out and called the cops. We're arguing in public and Hawk sees a police officer, he'll wave him down. Hawk will say that I'm crazy and that I'm abusive. He wants a witness.
We're divorcing, I have custody waiting.
You have custody waiting? It's become more obvious that he's been trying to build a case so that he can take Wayden. I'm scared that I'm gonna lose my son. That was the last thing I wanted for him, was to be from a broken family.
Okay, well, let's just get right to this. How has it gotten to this? You've only been married a couple of years. How has it gotten to this much of a disconnect?
It has just built and escalated to where it is out of control to the point of calling cops.
I assume you want my opinion, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, I've been through so many of these divorces and custody disputes. I was going through this back in the 70s and 80s when I was in private practice. I'm going through them over the last 12 years here of being here. And it never ceases to amaze me how naive people must think I am.
Me? In what regard?
Well, I mean, let's take a look at the police reports. Okay, on 12/14 last year, December 14th, at 1:50 p.m., you call the cops and you report being in 415, which is their language for battery, with wife over a child at the location. The female is trying to physically take the child. Okay, then later that day, you call again. Wife still causing 415 disturbance, is refusing to give car keys so he can leave. Okay, now the female, this would be you. You're in the background holding the 8-month in your arms, and you are heard in the background stating that you will not give him his keys.
No, I wasn't giving him his keys.
Why?
No, because every time we're in an argument or any sort of, discussion that's not going the way that Hawk wants it to go, he wants to take off. He wants to leave, and I don't know when he's going to come back or if he is at all.
Well, but he has the right to leave.
Yeah,
You understand that, right?
Yeah, no, he does. Absolutely.
Well, what do you mean absolutely? You won't give him his keys.
I don't think at that moment I was actually physically holding the keys. I think they were in my dresser or something
So you
like
had
that.
them hid?
I hid them. Yeah.
What are we, 12? I mean, seriously, we're 12 years old, and you're calling the police over this like they don't have enough to do with drug dealers and murderers and thieves. You're calling the police. Okay, then 12:15, which is the next day, 10:30 a.m., you're supposedly following him around a store. And then you get in a vehicle and follow him.
She told me that morning, "Where are you? I'm going to drive around looking for you." And she actually found me.
You were.
And she
And
drove.
And this needed to be a police action. Why?
She has our baby in her vehicle and is tailgating me dangerously around town. For why?
Park, Dr. Phil.
You don't tailgate anyone. I don't care if it's me or someone else. But if something happens, it's just
Pull
putting.
over.
That's why I drove to the police station.
12:29. We're still in the same month. 11:25. You call wife causing a disturbance, throwing property at respondent. You. What was she throwing at you?
She'd opened up a gift and threw clothes at my head from behind me. The thing is, all this, and
She what?
We were face to face. He was down on the floor.
What'd you throw at him?
A pair of stretchy pants.
Right.
They hit him in the knees, Dr. Phil, not in the face.
Sir, it doesn't matter what was thrown. That didn't hurt me by any means. I mean, I'm a grown man. I'm not scared of her actually physically hurting me.
Well,
What I'm scared
how
of
did you need
is
the police when she threw some pants at you?
because of the accusations and what things escalate up to that is dangerous for me. Like
Okay,
the one
so
we were
this
just
was
talking
the
about.
stretchy pants caper. You called
This
the police
is-
because she threw stretchy pants at you.
This is the thing that actually happened, but we're talking about a dangerous situation for me. I know it sounds silly.
Did you call the police one night because she put her cold feet on you in bed?
Of course not.
No.
That's, I'm sure, what she said.
No, that's exactly why I called the
how
police.
everything comes across. As far as cold feet on a bed, that is ridiculous.
He was
of course.
yelling at me,
She's
Phil.
harassing me all night. I literally, okay, I have to get up to go to work very early, and I will be harassed all night, whether it's turning lights on or off, her shoving me to the edge of the bed. I have to go sleep. I
What
have
do
to
you
go sleep.
want the police to do? Put socks on her?
It's just, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do as a man. What do I do?
No, but what do you want the police to do?
There's nothing they can do aside from maybe come and say, okay, hey, let's separate here. You agree? Hawk, you sleep on the couch, or Hawk is leaving. If I try to leave, I can't leave. I have to call the cops. And then they get there and she stops.
But does this feel like the threshold is perhaps a bit low on calling the police?
It's embarrassing to call cops on this kind of stuff. Absolutely. But whenever it gets to a point where I cannot leave, I cannot do something to get myself out, what do? I call the cops, and she stops.
Why does he need your permission to take y'all's child
He's
somewhere?
been with me. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I'm breastfeeding.
What the hell you mean he breastfeeds, so he has to be with you all the time? And later,
What makes you think that I am unstable, that I would actually kill someone? I want to hear more. Because it's an extreme allegation on me. Extreme.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil.
I believe that my husband has had thousands of women.
A wife's wild exaggerations?
you say you've had 2 physical affairs.
Yes, I'm disgusted with myself.
Sorry, that doesn't come across.
Or a husband's decade of deceit?
It's not easy making love to somebody that doesn't give back.
You created the problem, so you can get off your self-righteous high horse. I'm saying what you should be saying.
That's tomorrow.
Document this is a completely unsafe truck. She has my baby in, first of all. It's 3:05. Just waiting to do an exchange. Hi, buddy.
You were late.
Hi.
You don't get waited.
Hi, buddy. Hi, bud. Francesca, I'm here. I was waiting for you.
Here at 3 o'clock. You went to the police
Francesca,
station. Have it in
I am here
3 o'clock.
now.
You were at the police station.
I'm waiting for my son. This is my time right now.
We get out of December. We're now into January, 5:21 p.m. Wife pushed him and shut his hand in the door. So you called the police again.
Yes.
And what did you want them to do?
I want her arrested.
You wanted her to go. Why wasn't she?
Because it never
There's
happened.
no marks. There's no marks.
So
That's
the
what they
hand wasn't
said.
like mangled in the
No.
door. It was just,
No. It shut on my door, right on my ring finger, right on this hand. and
Dr. Phil, his
I'm okay
foot
once
was
again.
in the door. Because I was trying to close the door. His foot was in the door, like way, you know, so I couldn't even close the door. And then he sticks his hand in the door, like inside. So his foot is obviously wider than his hand would be. So how could I shut his hand in the door?
It was shut on my finger, and I don't need any medical attention. I told them that.
when in this process did you go to a domestic violence shelter for men?
Right after the last incident happened, the last
The
time I
stretchy
saw
pants
her.
or the door?
No, the last time I saw her, I think on the 11th, before we went into divorce.
I didn't
The last
even
time I
notice,
saw her
Dr.
was an
Phil.
incident of me going and finally, for the first time in 9 months, Waden's life, I got to take my son by myself in my truck. First time ever. And I had to forcefully do it. And cops had to be involved for them to allow me to do it and say, yeah, you go. It's your right as a father.
But why do you need her permission to go take your son somewhere?
Because she won't allow me to.
Why does he need your permission to take y'all's child
He's
somewhere?
been with me. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and that was our decision. And Waden has been with me since he's been born, 24/7, and I'm breastfeeding. He's fully breastfed baby, so He nurses quite often, and I'm just afraid that when he's gone from me, he's going to be upset that, you know, he's not with Mom because he's with me all the time.
But
and
you can't tell
need
his father he can't take him somewhere if he wants to take him somewhere.
No, I understand that. I know.
Well, apparently you don't.
Oh, maybe not. But, I mean, Hawk wasn't home. He was never really home anyways. He was always working at the ranch. And
it's his child.
I know it's his
He doesn't
child.
need your permission to take his child to the ballpark or to Starbucks or to Walmart or down by the creek or anywhere else. What the hell you mean he breastfeeds so he has to be with you all the time?
I didn't mean that he needs to be with me all the time because he breastfeeds. I just mean that he nurses quite often, so that's why he had been with me most of the time.
That wasn't the question, though. You're deflecting the question.
Sorry. Okay, what was the question?
Do you threaten him if he goes off with the child?
I have once, yeah. Yes.
Why?
Because I'm, like, incredibly attached to my son, and just, like, him being upstairs right now with the nanny, I'm, like, freaking out because he's never away from me.
Well, actually, that's not a good thing, but nonetheless.
I know.
So we actually had text that you were sending to Hawk when he had the audacity to take his own son for a walk. Mm-hmm. Your text message said, "Not back in 10 minutes, I'm calling the cops." I can't believe they weren't already there for something else. I have no idea where you are. My son is missing. Missing?
Oh, he left.
You know
and
what?
I didn't see
You know what? I am insulted by that, to tell you the truth, because I work with law enforcement all the time. We work on children that truly are missing. Mm-hmm. And the idea of you people or anybody else absorbing resources when people really are in trouble and distress and they're out here playing footsie games with you two is really ridiculous. It is absurd. You tell him, quote, "I will call them, the police. You stole my son." The biological father of this child takes him for a walk, and you say, "I'm calling the cops. You stole my son."
I don't trust him, Dr. Phil. I don't trust him or his family
You said,
with my
quote,
son.
"You didn't let me see him before you left, so there'll be consequences to your actions. If Waden is not back in 5 minutes, the cops will be out looking for our son who is missing." And then when he gets back, you say, "Sorry, I took our baby from you, but don't mess with a mama bear and her cub."
Yeah, I said that.
Wow. By the way, your baby is sleeping peacefully in the nanny's lap upstairs right now, out like a light.
Good.
Let's take a break here. I need one. Next, Francesca says Hawk's battle to win custody of their son recently reached an all-time low. We're going to find out what he accused her of when we come back.
Francesca's had Waden in her arms and been very violent towards me.
I've never physically hurt Hawk in any way.
You've all heard me talk about Doctor on Demand, the exciting new app that my son Jay and I created that allows you within seconds to visit face-to-face with a board-certified doctor using your smartphone. Now, usually our Doctor on Demand visits cost just $40, about the cost of a copay. But we have been tracking the cold and flu outbreaks, and since Jay and I own the company, we get to make the decisions and have decided that from now until February 28th, all Doctor on Demand calls are free, instant and free. Download the Doctor on Demand app from iTunes App Store or Google Play and talk to a doctor now. And yes, it's free until February 28th.
Francesca puts Waden in harm's way over and over again. She's had Waden in her arms and been very violent towards me.
Hawk exaggerates. I've never physically hurt Hawk in any way.
One day, Francesca and I were having another disagreement, and it escalates into the loud, crazy rage. And so I say, I am leaving. And she comes running out in her underwear and no shoes on with Waden. And Waden's not wrapped up in a blanket, and it's cold. And she won't let me leave while holding Waden. I started reversing. She stepped behind my truck. I could have rammed both of them over. It was child endangerment.
You kids!
At one point, I went to a refuge place for abused men, women, and I spoke to the counselor, and she's like, this is pretty serious. She said, your child is being abused.
So they told you that your child was being abused.
Yes, sir.
They heard only your story.
Yes, sir.
They didn't interview your wife,
No.
didn't examine the child, didn't do a home study or a home visit or whatever.
No, they did
You went
after
in
they
and
came.
told them what you believed to be true, and they said, well, wow, this is pretty serious. Sounds like your child's being abused.
What I know to be true, yes, sir. Absolutely.
Now, you actually entered into a contract to try to resolve. You wrote up a marriage contract, right?
I wrote up, I was at the end of this marriage, and we'd had a conversation and said, I'm to the point, I need to legally separate, divorce, something. This has to end. It's overall, it's bad. And she said, basically, just not yet. Let's try counseling again after we've done a year of it. Write something up if you want. I'll sign it. I wrote something up.
Well,
And
here's
what-
number
what-
6. You said, quote, because of the verbal and physical domestic violence that you have exhibited, you will attend some form of anger management counseling and provide proof you are attending. Number 7, quote, you agree you will not physically grab or push me, slam the door on me, especially when Waden is in your arms. You also agree not to take my personal items like my car keys, cell phone, etc. when you are mad at me. Number 8, in counseling, we agree we will address these issues and your anger, insecurity, and those feelings of unrealistic worry that make you do things that are not appropriate for our son and our relationship. I'm confident that if you act upon these agreements, our marriage and love will blossom into a healthy and loving marriage. And then you signed that.
Yeah, I signed it, and I was like, oh, what did I just sign? Like, you know.
Did you call the police about this?
Well, because I asked Hawk if I could see it again after I had already signed it, and he took it and already went and put it out in his truck and locked his truck up and hid his keys, so I couldn't get.
Is that
the
a yes?
contract. Yes, I signed it. Or sorry, what was the question?
You called the police.
Yeah, I called the police.
Do y'all not understand what police do?
No, I do. I do.
Yes, sir.
You signed the contract, wished you didn't.
Yeah, I wish I didn't.
He locked it up.
And wouldn't let me have it and was freaking out, yelling at me, and
So
then
you called the
got
police.
dressed and was leaving off with the contract, and I knew exactly why he was making me sign this contract, to use it against me in court. And so when after I
And
signed,
what did you want the police to do? Look, I'm the officer. I've shown up. You just explained this whole thing to
no
me.
one came.
Ma'am,
No,
how can I help
I was just
you?
talking to dispatch. I was just talking.
They didn't come?
No. I
Well,
didn't ask
thank
anybody
God.
to come.
What would you want them to do if
I
they
was
did
just
come?
looking
If
for
they
advice.
did send someone, and I was that guy.
If they did send someone.
Yeah, that's me. I'm the officer, Officer Phil. I show up. What is it you would like for me to do, Francesca?
I felt like the contract was, community property, and I wanted it to see it, or had a copy of it at least, so I wanted it back. That's all I wanted. But I didn't ask for an officer to come. I just was talking to someone as, advice. I was looking for resources.
They've just
basically.
become your friends.
Well, I've seen them many times. Yeah, I know them all by name. It's a small town. We know all of them now.
Yeah. You wanted to go back to the allegation that you're abusing the child.
Yes.
And you say the reason you said that is because she took him out in the cold?
Francesca
there's
puts
anything
Waden
I've
in
done to
dangerous
Waden been
positions.
abusive.
Anything that we're going through as adults, an argument, she will bring Waden on her hip into that argument. Loud,
Into it?
screaming, making him cry. Out. No, it doesn't matter what temperature it is outside, day or night. She will be on her hip, running.
Running?
Behind a moving truck, my running truck.
No.
That's when I called the cops the first time ever, when she stepped behind my running truck.
No.
won't let me leave. I finally close my door. It's a stick shift. Clutch, it's engaged. I could have slipped off the clutch and ran both my wife and baby over. That stuff happens. Detrimental because of just, in that moment, a rage.
And then you recognize the danger.
Absolutely, yes.
Turn it off.
Francesca comes off as a beautiful, small, quiet, just friendly person that can never do anything. I'm gonna tell you, a sociopath is what she is.
Did you file an emergency request for use of the home to put her and the baby out and you in the home?
There was a move-out order as soon as we were in court, like 2 days later.
I filed an emergency hearing to get custody of my son.
You wanted exclusive use and possession of the house. That was the terminology. You wanted exclusive use and possession of the house.
Yes, she moved out. She went to her mom's house.
I didn't move out.
And I have an obligation there, if part of my rent is to trade out carpentry. So I have to live there and work in the home.
House.
She went to her mom's house.
She had custody of the child at the time, so you had them both legally removed from the house.
It's not a good situation by any means for her or Waden. I don't. My goal is to have him with me.
Are you being oppositional with her? I mean, just to not get along?
Absolutely not.
Well, like, we had to provide her wardrobe because you wouldn't let her in the house to get her clothes.
I gave her all her clothes for
No, I've asked.
I've got texts for her. Anytime she needed clothes, I would offer.
Were you allowed back in the house to get your clothes to come here?
No, she won't let me back in the house.
No, she was not.
I've asked, like, literally
No,
5 times to ask.
Well, you just said you did.
I got all of her clothes for her.
But you wouldn't let her in the house to get...
feminine products to clothes to you name it.
You wouldn't let her in the house to get her clothes to come here.
Correct. Unless there's a third party with me. If you want to come get your clothes or anything you need, I'll have a third party.
Everything
she
of
won't
mine
come over
is
if there's
there,
a third party.
I'm sorry?
Everything of mine is there. I have, like, literally, well, now I have a few more, but I have, like, 5 pairs of underwear.
So we had to dress you in the wardrobe department because you wouldn't let her in the house to get her clothes. Does that seem reasonable?
I made it really clear to her. If she needs to go get anything from that house, there will be a third party there with me. Because of her actions, I'm not going to be there alone with her. No way. In this state, no way.
Alone with me
and she
all
said,
the
I'm not
time,
coming if there's a third party.
We were
Fair
alone
enough.
together yesterday.
Let me know what you need and I'll bring it. I brought her everything. I brought her more than she wants. She says, I don't want all this stuff.
Did you apply for women, infant, child assistance in order to buy groceries and have money?
Yeah. And he works 2 jobs.
I mean, this is what they're looking at. There's an agency there, and they're saying they're married.
Right.
And she needs our assistance because he's not providing.
Yeah, not the case whatsoever. I work extremely hard. I don't make a lot of money.
Did you take her name off the bank account?
Absolutely. Let me just put it this way before she gives all these looks. Let me just say one thing. Francesca comes off as a beautiful, small, quiet, just friendly person that can never do anything. I'm going to tell you, because she was that when I met her.
You call me socially awkward.
She's actually a boy that you'd never believe and a compulsive liar that I still don't even believe. A sociopath is what she is. Absolutely. When I talked to my counselor and went through what is going on and what happens, she was termed as a sociopath. And the crying, the everything, she's awesome. I'm telling you right now, she's good at what she does.
Okay,
That's
well,
not
I just
me
want to be
saying
sure
you need to do it.
that I'm getting the facts straight, because
Sure.
you did file an emergency petition to remove her and the child from the house.
Well, he didn't
And I
think
filed
the
to
child
get
was going to be removed.
What?
He wanted the child, so
Well,
really
if she
he
has
just...
custody of the child. She goes, the child goes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay.
Be
I just
both
want
of
to be
us.
sure, because
Yeah.
I read that in the court documents. I just wanted to be sure that I read that right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you have now said she is a compulsive liar and a sociopath.
Absolutely. That's
And
what I know
really
she's a
good at it.
liar. Sociopath, from the description, what I've been told, and through counseling, it describes her pretty darn well. Yes, sir.
All right, well, we're going to take a break. And there's one person who is adamant that this marriage should not be repaired. She says Hawk is a sociopath, and you might guess we're talking about her mother. She says he's dangerous, cannot be trusted. And then I am going to say something to this couple that I really hope they hear when we come back. We'll be right back.
Hawk is definitely a ticking time bomb. I feel that there's a strong possibility that Francesca could show up dead or missing.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil.
She believes her husband has cheated over 1,000 times.
You say you've had 2 physical affairs.
Yes, I'm disgusted with myself.
Why do I have this creepy feeling that it's continuing?
That's tomorrow.
Francesca's mom was a red flag to me. Talked about sexual things in front of me and being attracted to high school boys. The crudest mouth I've heard in my life. I really, really have a strong dislike for her mom.
Well, I've been speaking with Francesca and Hawk, who are in the throes of a divorce and custody battle filled with lies and accusations flying back and forth. As you just heard, it's pretty clear how Hawk feels about his mother-in-law, and believe me, there is no love lost from her side either. Take a look.
There is no doubt in my mind that Hawk is a sociopath. I strongly believe that Hawk deliberately got Francesca pregnant to keep her down and to have control over her. Everything Hawk does is a setup. He has been portraying Francesca as a husband abuser and child abuser. He has called the cops on her a dozen times. He is trying to set her up to take the baby away from her. Hawk has no shame. Hawk has no conscience. He'll do whatever it takes to win. Hawk is definitely a ticking time bomb. That's why I'm so afraid for my daughter. I feel that there's a strong possibility that Francesca could show up dead or missing. Francesca doesn't deserve this.
Okay, you're concerned about her safety. I mean, I assume you're saying you think he could kill her.
Yes.
You don't trust him.
Not at all.
You say he acts superior to everyone and has no regard for anyone.
Absolutely, that's the truth.
True?
It's true.
Do you think that your daughter has any ownership in this situation?
Yes.
But you think he's unstable and there's something seriously wrong with him?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. What makes you think that? What makes you think that I am unstable and these things that you're saying to me? Because you know me. We've spent some time together. We've spent some time. I've had you out to the ranch several times, done wonderful things, shared with you, tried to be inviting you as the husband. Tell me some things. That I would actually kill someone? I want to hear it from you. What examples? Do you have, not from your, hold on, not from your daughter.
You judged my mom since the day you met her. You told me you didn't like her from the day you met her.
I want to hear from your mom. She's here for a reason, right? Because otherwise this is between you and I and our son.
Yes,
I want help
with
our son in raising him. So
but
what's
why?
your reason? Give some examples, please.
He had left the house and parked down the road and then snuck back and spied on Francesca. She was...
This is coming from Francesca, though, right?
Yeah, I was on the phone, and I looked out the curtain on the front door, and you were just standing there.
Huh.
Just standing there.
That's new information to me.
That's new?
I've never spied on my wife. In our home, you're saying?
Yeah, you
The
were
day that this
standing there
happened,
at
did
the
you go by
front
the house
door.
earlier in the day?
No, I was
Did
at my
you not
mom's
park
the whole
down
time.
the road and not right in front of our house? I didn't even
I've
hear
never
your truck.
spied on you. This is a lie. Okay, what else?
Lie.
I want to hear more. Because it's an extreme allegation on me. Extreme. So I want to hear it. Because you guys are a great team, I'll tell you right now.
Team. Oh my gosh.
Is there anything else you want to share? If it isn't, you don't have to answer this question if you don't want to.
No,
It's okay.
I don't want to answer
That's okay.
this question.
You don't have to.
If you are going to be in the Los Angeles area and you would like free tickets, go to drphil.com and click on Be in the Audience.
Or call 323-461-PHIL. You were how old when you got married?
30.
And you were?
20.
Yeah. That's a big difference. Psychosocially is a really big difference in level of exposure and sophistication and life experience and that sort of thing. Why did you marry her?
Okay, we had a good time. She was, like I said, obviously beautiful. Physical attraction was there from the get-go. I think that sort of blinded me in some ways, I'll be honest. And she was sweet, she was kind, she was fun, she was lighthearted. So quiet, so if we had an issue, we could talk about it.
We asked you to describe her at the time you married her, and you said, quote, she had no depth to conversation, not well-traveled, no interest in hearing about my life accomplishments.
No,
you said very
I didn't say
awkward
that.
socially,
Yes.
not outgoing, can't carry a conversation.
Correct.
Immature and had promiscuous past.
Yes.
Very jealous of women.
Yes.
Wanted nothing to do with my family, isolated.
Correct.
From family.
Yes. So
This is
all
when you
things-
married her.
Yeah, these are all things that bit by bit I started learning. But we went to counseling right away as well. And we were working, we both have work to do, and we were working on. And there was some steps there that were changing a little bit. And I'd always come back and say, what is going on? What am I doing? But
What are you
I'm going to
doing?
keep trying
You
this.
never look at yourself, Hawk. It's always
Absolutely,
my
I
fault.
do. I always got stuff to work on. That's
Well,
why I'm
if
the one that
there's-
says, let's go to counseling.
If there's one
Absolutely.
thing that I know for sure is that you definitely divorce a different person than you marry.
Sure.
No doubt about it. The one you take home and unwrap is not the one you put out the door 5 years later.
I can tell you, I think what happened is the beginning was that fun love stage. And as we progressed, there were still wonderful, beautiful things that shared that I really liked about her, obviously. And then with counseling, these things were all spoken about very clearly. And I had my parts to work on. She had hers. And it got to a point, we got married fast. She got pregnant, and we made a decision. Let's get married. Let's do this. And that's the only way to do it.
In the
We were
beginning,
committed.
Dr. Phil, he was trying to change me, and I think I was more willing to change. When we met, I was only 19. So yeah, I'm young, and I've still got a lot of life experience ahead of me. And so I was trying to be what Hawk wanted me to be, and then it just got old.
It looks like you are overreactive. It looks like you are attempting to build a file and create a case on her, and that you are inept because you cannot handle your own home and your own child without calling in armed guards. Stop justifying your inactivity and avoiding the challenge of change. For help getting started, go to drphil.com for 11 seasons of advice, articles, and exclusive videos you won't find anywhere else. Plus, sign up for the Dr. Phil community to share your story and find support from others, all on drphil.com. Let me wrap this up by giving y'all some advice that you need to hear. And I want you to remember the moment that I said this to you. It is 10:24 in the morning. You remember on 10:24 on a Tuesday, I said what I'm getting ready to say to you. Because if you don't hear me, the day's going to come when you're going to look back and say, you know what? That moment at 10:24 that he told me something, I should have listened. I think that both of you are distinguishing yourself in the negative. Because there's a field of psychology called forensic psychology. And forensic psychologists are those that get appointed by the court to come in and evaluate circumstances to determine where is the best place for a child to be. And you can come in with your file, look here, police have been called on her 14 times. This lady said there's abuse of the child. All of this is going, I mean, look at this. Oh, my God, help me save my son. But you know what a wily forensic psychologist is going to say? They're going to wonder why you are working so hard to assassinate her character. They're going to wonder why you go on national television and say she is a sociopath and a pathological liar and promiscuous and all of these sorts of things. They're going to wonder why called the cops all of these times, but yet never been arrested, never an emergency room visit, never any evidence of anything that rose to the level of even a misdemeanor. It makes you look really bad.
I'm not doing it for looks, though.
And well, I'm not. Listen, I'm not even making a judgment about whether you're doing it for looks or whether you're not. What I'm telling you at 10:24 is how it looks.
Sure.
It looks like you are overreactive. It looks like you are attempting to build a file and create a case on her, and that you are inept because you cannot handle your own home and your own child without calling in armed guards.
Sure.
So, and let me tell you, I am trained as a forensic psychologist. I'm not saying what one might think. I'm saying then it doesn't look good for you.
Let's do it then.
It doesn't look good for you.
Forensics and whatnot. Let's do it.
Yeah, well,
I'd love to.
Yeah.
How it looks, agreed.
Just remember, at 10:24, I told you you don't want to do that. And
I disagree.
Your husband is taking his son for a walk, and you're threatening that your child is missing. And you may think it's the moral high ground because, oh, I'm breastfeeding and I must have my child. He's never been away from me. You know, children need to learn that mommy and daddy can go away. And you know what? They came back. And you know what? I survived while they were gone. Woo! And the greatest gift you can give that child is to support and nurture a relationship between that child and its father.
I'm not trying to keep him.
Don't even tell me that.
I'm
Come
not.
on, don't. Listen, I'm just trying to help you. And you're getting your all back up here saying, well, let's do it, by God. I disagree. I want you trot them out here, buddy. Let me show them to you. No, you don't. And let me tell you why you don't, Mr. Know-It-All.
Okay.
You do not want to do that because you don't know a damn thing about who's sitting on that bench. When you turn the future of your family over to some family judge that you don't know a damn thing about, they can make some decision that eviscerates your family.
I understand that.
Don't turn your family over to some stranger. Well,
it just needs to be about our son. That's all.
There clearly needs to be a third party involved here that
sir.
is a professional, and I'm going to make arrangements to have someone that will help you with this. But I'm telling you, you need to make a deal and stay out of the court system.
Yes, sir.
It was
Never
10:24.
wanted to be in the court
It was 10:24 when I said it. I'm just telling you, I have to stop. All right, I want to thank my guest today, and a special thanks to our medical team at Doctor On Demand. You guys have seen the new app, Doctor On Demand, that my son and I came up with, which we use here at the show to get medical information we need. And if you want to have your own Doctor On Demand, then you can download the app at Google Play or the App Store. And with the click of a button, you can be face-to-face with a board-certified physician in just a matter of minutes. And, yeah, you don't have to get dressed. You don't have to go out of the house. So Jay and I are really proud of that here, so we use it at the show. So thanks for being here today. We'll see you next time. All right.